Alright, welcome back everyone. So in this chapter we want to talk about square roots and irrational numbers. Alright, so let's see what that is. Okay, so we've learned before that if you have a square with 3 on both sides, if you multiply those together, 3 times 3 gets you 9. Now if you want to do the exact opposite of that, or do the reverse of that, it's called a square root. Because what we wrote was 3 times 3 is 3 squared, and 3 squared equals 9. Now what if I gave you a square and told you there were 9 blocks on the inside and you knew that both sides were equal? So I'm asking you what two identical numbers multiply together to get you 9? And the answer is 3 and 3. So the square root of 9 is 3. So the reverse of squaring a number is finding the square root. Notice when you square a number, you know the sides, you're trying to find the area. When you're taking the square root, you know the area, you're trying to find the sides. So what would the sides be if there were 25 was the area of the square? Or what is the square root of 25? You guessed it, 5. And what would the answer be for this one? You guessed it, 11. All right, so you notice as the square root indicates the positive or principal square root of a number. If you ever want to use your multiplication chart, you could, because the square root of 9, you'll notice that these very special multiplication facts go a perfect diagonal right down the middle of the square root sign, or excuse me, right down the middle of the multiplication chart. So, if I want to find out what the square root of 9 is, all I have to do is find it. Same idea for the square root of 81. Find the 81, and that's why the answer would be 9. So the square root of a number is a number that, when multiplied by itself, equals the given number. Every positive number has a positive and a negative square root. A perfect square is a number with integers as the square roots. So what are the two square roots of 49? Well, let's think about it. 7 times 7 equals 49, but also negative 7 times negative 7 equals 49. So if I want to know the positive square root, well, that would be 7. If I want to know the negative square root, well, that would be negative 7. Notice if I want to get the negative square root, I have to put the negative sign in front of the principal square root sign. That indicates that I want to get a negative answer. And if I want them both, I put a plus and a minus sign in front. And that means the positive and negative square root. All right, so what would the answer be for this one? The answer would be positive 6 and only positive 6 because it is the principal square root sign and there's not a negative sign in front. What would the answer be for this one? Negative 6 because I indicated that I wanted the negative square root sign simply by having the negative sign in front of the square root. Answer for this one? You got it? 12. Answer for this one? Negative 12. And I hope you realize, oops, there's a little mistake right there. That should be moved over, but a negative sign in front of the square root sign indicates that you want the negative square root of a number. So this one, 7. This one, negative 11. This one, ooh, interesting. What two identical numbers multiply together get you 9? 3. And what two identical numbers multiply together get you 16? 4. So the answer would be 3/4, because 3/4 times 3/4, 3 times 3 would be 9, and 4 times 4 would be 16. This one, give you a second. Feel free to hit pause at any time here if you want to try. Negative 1/4. This one, did you simplify it first? Because 32 divided by 8 is 4. Now it's an easy one. 2. And this one. Okay, all you have to do is divide, and you get your answer. All right, now here's kind of interesting. What if I take the square root of a number and then square it? Well, square root of 81 is 9, and 9 squared would be 81. Hey, that's kind of a neat trick. It goes right back to the original number. What if I had this one? Think you know what it is? Well, if I do what's in the parentheses first, and then square it, I get right back to where I started. What about this one? It's kind of interesting. I'd get negative 6 for my square root, and then when I square it, negative 6 times negative 6 equals positive 36. Once again, it's a nice shortcut. It's almost like taking one step forward and then one step back. You get right back to where you started. All right, so we do have order of operations problems. And I want you to realize that in the order of operations, the square root sign is a grouping symbol. So do I have a grouping symbol? Yes, I do. And that's why you add those together first. Once I've done that, do I have an exponent? Yes. This is considered an exponent now, so we always do that second. I don't have any multiplying and dividing, but I do have some adding and subtracting, and I get my answer. In this situation, do I have a grouping symbol? No, because there's nothing that can add, subtract, multiply, or divide in here. So I go straight to the exponent, and notice now I get 5 times 6 plus 7. Do I have multiplying and dividing? Yep. And adding and subtracting. There you go. Let you guys try this one. Don't be afraid to hit pause. All right. Did you handle the square root sign first? Did you multiply second? And did you add carefully? Let's try this one. Okay. Now just think about it. That's a grouping symbol, so you have to divide that first. Now it looks easy, even though I had a decimal in there. All right. You guys, if you got any questions, don't be afraid to ask your teacher, and I'll talk to you guys later.